Hi, I'm Chris Connor, and this is Playing with Your Food 101. Today we're going to make Texas chili. Now, Texas chili is a little bit different than some of your other chili you might have. Texas chili has no beans in it. It's no filler, it's all meat. And my Texas chili is a little bit different than other Texas chili because I use steak in my Texas chili. Now, you can do your Texas chili with ground sirloin or hamburger if you'd like. I've done it that way before, but I'm going to show you how to do Texas chili the way I originally like to do it, and that's with steak. But you can do it without having to have anything fancy. Use a crock pot, cook it overnight if you want on slow, or cook it first thing in the morning on high and let it cook overnight. But this is how you make Texas chili. I used to do Texas chili where I used to cut it by hand. I would get the steak, and now what I'm using here is sirloin steak. It's actually Angus beef. And these pieces are actually already cut into nice sized chunks. And it would take me a good hour, 2 hours to cut this. And I would just use a knife and I would slice into 1/4 inch sizes like this. And then I would go one way, then I would go the opposite way. And I'd spend the evening prepping this. Got a faster way to do it now. I have a KitchenAid mixer, grinder, and I'm using the coarse grind, and feed them into it. Make sure you use saran wrap to cover everything because this speeds the process up, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now. If you don't happen to have a meat grinder, you can still do it with a knife. Just understand it's going to take you a little bit of time. Put it on the lowest setting and just feed it right in. And all these pieces of meat are pretty lean. It does have some marbling in it, which you want. But you don't want real fatty pieces of meat. You want it to be fairly lean. But as you can see, it makes pretty quick work of it. We're using about 6 pounds of steak here. Like I said, you can use hamburger. If I use hamburger, I'm using about 80-20 or 90-10. You don't want it too fatty because you don't want a lot of grease in there. But this is a really efficient way to get it done, and it gets it done fairly quick. It saves me, oh my gosh, it takes my time down from 2.5 hours of cutting this to about 10 minutes time. Really great way to speed the process up. We have 6 pounds almost of coarse ground steak. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some beer to it so it can soak in the flavors. I'm using a gluten-free beer called New Grist, and it's a Pilsner style beer, but we have food allergies in our family. Some of the family members are celiac, meaning they can't have any gluten. But I'm going to put that inside the steak and let that marinate, get the flavors soaking in there, and I'm also going to cook it with that beer in there, and that's really going to help give it some good flavors. I'm going to use a pressure cooker, my Instant Pot, to cook this. It will only take about 45 minutes to cook this super tender, but like I said, you don't have to have an Instant Pot. I used to cook it with a crock pot, just let it cook overnight on low or cook all day on high. But let me just stir that up here and get that beer all mixed through there. All right, so now I have my spices all separated, ready to go in the pot. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brown the meat, and instead of using flour, so I use a masa for that, which is gluten-free, and it also gives it a nice Southwest flavor. I also use 1 tablespoon of cumin, 1.5 tablespoons of oregano. I use 3 tablespoons of Hungarian paprika, 1/2 tablespoon of kosher salt, I also use 3 tablespoons of ancho chilies, ground up, 1 tablespoon, and this is my own concoction here. It's habanero, jalapeno, and white pepper. It's a dried powder. It's all mixed. Then I also use about 4 to 5 tablespoons of chili powder. And then I'm using 5 cloves of garlic, and that's what that is right there. Let's go ahead now and brown the meat, and then I'm also gonna add 1 more bottle of beer. I use olive oil to brown my meat, so I'm gonna set this to saute. I'm gonna pour in probably, I don't know, 3-4 tablespoons of olive oil. We're also gonna add some diced tomatoes to it, because what's chili without a little bit of tomato in it? A little bit of masa. Like I said, I used to use flour, but the masa just gives it a nice Southwest flavor. And we're just gonna do this in batches. So we've been letting this soak and marinate in the beer for a little bit. We're just gonna put a little bit of masa in here, and that's just gonna kind of give it a little thickening and a little bit of flavor. Just about 3 spoonfuls. As we stir this in, we'll put maybe 1/3 of it in there. Get that going. We're gonna add a little bit more of that masa. To what's sitting over here. 2 more spoonfuls. Like I said, we just want this to just brown up a little bit. We don't want it to cook it, we just want it to brown. All right, we've almost got the first batch all browned. We're going to transfer that into the metal bowl and brown the rest of it. And then we're going to add all the spices and ingredients, put the pressure pot to work, and next time you see it, hopefully we'll have some chili. We're going to go ahead and add the spices to everything. Get everything mixed. The heat. The salt. Okay, and these are just suggested. You can add any spices you want. I mean, it's cooking, it's supposed to be fun. And then, of course, the tomatoes. Stir that all up. And then, of course, the beer. And I almost forgot the onion, using a medium-sized yellow onion diced. I'm going to put that right in there. And just so it's not too thick, I think I am going to add a little bit of beef broth to it, just because Instant Pot does need liquid to work. Cup and a half. Stir that in there. But it's time now to let the steam off of the Instant Pot so we can check the chili and make sure that it is ready. So I always use this. I do a quick pressure release on it so we don't have steam going everywhere I cover it. All right, so the pressure release is done. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what's inside. All right, everything looks really good here. And then we do cook beans on the side for the people that do want to add beans to it. But like I said, traditional Texas chili has no beans, it's all meat. All right. Real, homemade Texas chili, all meat. I'm Chris Connor. Thanks for watching.